What's up, everybody? It's the RCLman here. Welcome to another episode of the RCL Podcast. As you can see, everything is sort of different, but sort of the same. We're still in PlayStation VR, and that's basically what we're going to be talking about tonight, is my whole fiasco with the Oculus Quest that I was so excited about and so for sure that everything was going to be different. And here we are, back with the PlayStation VR. But normally I go through your comments and tell you how the channel did. We'll do some of that, but I'm not really going through comments because I'm just kind of stuck here right now. And I wouldn't say I'm in a bad place, but I'm not in like a great place. But then also, it's like 3 o'clock in the morning. All right, so I'm just kind of in a weird way, just trying to, explain what happened this past week and just move on. And we'll be back to normal next week. But basically, I was, so looking forward. Oh, I have Rec Room Plus, by the way. Yeah, finally, this is the hoodie I've been wanting, and then somebody sent me this. Oh, this Ashley got. Thank you, I appreciate it. Yeah, so I was so excited about getting the Quest, and basically, let me start at the beginning. And I know I've said it before, but I'll just start at the beginning. I went on Steam VR, and there's a little tool you have in there where you can check to see, if your computer can run VR. Well, I downloaded that app, checked it, said the computer was fine. It was, red, yellow, green. It was green, so it was good. Like, it's good for VR. So in that case, I was like, cool. I can just go get an Oculus Quest. Well, I wanted a Rift because everybody said a Rift would be the best, but it was out of stock. So the Quest, that was the next thing. Cool. It's not as expensive. Whatever. I can link it with Oculus Link or whatever. That was the plan. So I get the Quest, mess around with it a little bit, try the normal stuff on it, like all the demos and stuff. And I mean, it was great. It's got great tracking. It's really, it's an all-in-one system. It's actually the tracking, even though PlayStation VR isn't horrible, there's a difference. You can tell that there's a difference, and there's a difference in like image quality and everything. So I mean, you can tell. But I got that. I was like, okay, so I didn't have enough time to deal with that before the stream. So after the stream, that was, I think, Wednesday of last week, I was going to hook it up to the computer and try it. Well, sit down on the computer, realized that the cord that they gave me is USB-C on both sides, which you don't need. You need USB-C and you need USB 3.0. Wait, what was it? USB... whatever. You need a regular USB and then you need a USB-C, basically. And I didn't have that cable. But my girlfriend recently got a new phone, and it did have that cable. It was only 2 feet long, but it was good enough to hook it up. So, hook it up. In order to hook it up and use the Oculus Link, you have to download the Oculus app. Download the Oculus app. This is a whole line of events. Trust me, we're just getting started here. Hook it up, and before I even install the Oculus software, it says GPU does not have 4.2 SSE or something. I don't know. GPU is not good enough, basically. So then I was like, well, there's no point. You know what I mean? I was kind of just like, there's no point in me even having this. If I can't use the streamer camera, it's not as good as the PlayStation VR. There's no point in me having it, right? It doesn't give me anything better than what I have. Yes, the tracking would be better, but in terms of using it for Rec Room, it doesn't really help me. So when I was setting it up and everything, my girlfriend really liked it. She seemed to say, or she did say, get me one of these because this is really awesome and I really enjoy it. So at that point, I thought, well, this is kind of useless to me. She really enjoys it. I mean, it's not useless. Obviously, I can use it. But even when I tried to record gameplay with it, it would not work. I'm assuming that's just a connection issue, but whatever. I was like, this is pretty much useless to me. Let me give it to her since it seems like she really wants it. Just our birthdays are coming up. I can give it to her as a gift. So gave it to her. Now we were, just kind of looking up things for her to do, games she can play and stuff like that. And we saw about this thing called virtual desktop, which kind of sucks because we had already come to the conclusion, okay, it's not mine anymore. Hands off. It's hers. She can do what she wants with it. Now we find out there might be a possibility we can get it to work. This thing called virtual desktop. So we spend $20 on the app for virtual desktop, hook it on the computer. You got to find out, or come to find out, you have to put it in developer mode. You put it in developer mode, then you have to get this thing called SideQuest, and you get the thing called SideQuest, download that, and you download virtual desktop within SideQuest, and then you run it that way, and then finally the VR starts to come through on my PC. You know what I mean? Awesome. We're making progress, right? Go to Steam VR, click Steam VR. Nope. Has to work with the Oculus software. Basically, it's saying if you're not using the Oculus software, or I've looked it up, from a couple different places. They basically updated some bit of software. I don't know if it's a PlayStation VR or if it's the Steam VR or the Oculus, whatever. But basically, they made it to where you have to have runtime. I don't know. You have to have something from that to make it work. So, after all of this, we're still stuck here in PlayStation VR. That's it. You know what I mean? I'll try to make do. We'll basically be stuck here in PlayStation VR for I don't know how long. And then the computer, so then, with the whole thing, before any of this happened, the computer, right, I'm like, oh, well, I could maybe buy a processor, you know what I mean, and update the CPU. I've never done it before, but hey, it can't be that hard, right? Other people do it. There's tutorials on YouTube. So I looked it up, and the highest processor that my motherboard in my computer will accept, or whatever, it will accept it, basically is not good enough to be whatever the minimum was that they expected. I think it was like a Ryzen 5 or something, I don't know. So essentially I would have to replace the motherboard and the processor in order to be able to run it. And again, I'm not experienced with any of that. I'm surprised I was even able to do the developer thingy, you know what I mean, with all the side quests and everything. So, yeah, basically not going to be able to go into the Quest. Basically going to need a new computer to be able to do what I want here in Rec Room. And we'll pretty much be stuck here in front of the mirror, for a good while until that can happen. But it's okay. It's quarantine out there, right? We got to stay in our room. However, I did say that I wanted to start having people on the podcast, so I do want to start doing that. I guess we'll just have to do it in here. You know what I mean? I'll just have to invite people in here and do the podcast that way. That's all we can do, right? That's all we can do. And I don't really have a lot to say, honestly. Subscriber count right now is 1,039, I believe, or 38 or 39. That's an increase in, I believe, 30 subscribers if my math is correct. So thank you, everybody, for subscribing. I really do appreciate it. This week's been kind of weird with the content. You know what I mean? It hasn't been Rec Room content. There was one thing that was Rec Room content, and then the other stuff was not. And I realized I need to do more Rec Room stuff. But again, I've been dealing with this whole Quest thing all week. So that's kind of where I was like, oh, I'll be able to make up for it later. Which didn't really happen. But other than that, I mean, honestly, there's one video I did that I think I jumped the gun on. It's the Minecraft Dungeons instructional XP farming, whatever thing. I put that out. Maybe I put it out a little hastily. I just kind of found that subject and I don't know. I just thought this is a good thing to do, and then later on I thought, well, maybe it's not such a good thing. Maybe it's something that is very obvious and people know how to do. But it seems to be doing well. And then Not for Broadcast, I put that out, and that's a pretty good game. It's like Papers, Please, but with TVs, so like broadcasting the news and stuff. That's a really fun game, even though there's not a lot of commentary happening. I don't really think I have anything else to say today. I know it's a weird podcast. I've just been, like I said, I've been dealing with this Quest thing all week. And so hopefully, eventually we can bust out of here. You know what I mean? But for right now, we're quarantined in this room. Thank you, everybody, for joining me for the RCL podcast. If you did like it, make sure to like, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll be back next week with the normal show with the comments and everything like that. And the green screen. Unless I need to change it. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of green on the thing. Anyway, have a good day, everybody. RCLman out.